Taxpayers are asking, when will this spending stop? Joining us now, Representative Joe Wilson, Republican from South Carolina. Also joining us, Judge Andrew Napolitano is back. Bob Rice, Managing Partner at Tangent Capital. Tara Dowdell, Democratic Strategist, and Imogen Lloyd-Webber, Political Commentator. Representative, thanks for joining us. You know, we have 158 days, 158 or 9 days or so until the end of the year when the Bush tax credits expire, a massive increase in taxes, sir. Give us your 2 cents. How in the world can an economy that's recovering afford this?
Well, actually, it can't. By increasing taxes $3.8 trillion, this will cause, obviously, a loss of jobs. And we need to be working together, Republican and Democrat, to extend the tax cuts, to grow the economy, create jobs, to stimulate the growth of the private sector and small businesses.
Representative, earlier I named a couple of Democrats who are moving over to the side where they agree with the tax cuts, extension of the tax cuts. You're talking about Senator Evan Bayh, Senators Conrad and Senator Nelson, also the Blue Dog Democrats in the House. Are you hearing any other Democrats? Maybe they're up against a tough race. Are they looking at possibly jumping ship as well?
I believe they will, and I thought it was very impressive, the list that you mentioned. This is a cross-section of the Democratic Party. I believe that the American people are expressing legitimate and sincere concern that the tax increases in a stagnant economy will cost more jobs. The tax increases are going to be on small businesses. Small businesses will not be able to add employees, and we know in the district that I represent, the vast majority of jobs that are created in small businesses.
Hang in there, Representative. Hang in there. I want to bring Tara Dowdell in here. She's a Democratic strategist. Tara, what about it? He makes a very good point. The economy's trying to recover. Small businesses create jobs. Can they create jobs with higher taxes?
Well, certainly higher taxes are not ideal, but let me clarify one thing. What the Obama administration is talking about, and there's not general agreement in the Democratic Party, is to repeal the Bush tax cuts only for those individuals making $250,000 or more, not for individuals below that threshold, families and individuals.
Right, you buy it, it's only going to affect people over 250 grand?
Not in the long run, of course, because everything trickles down, all the costs get passed through. And what is historically true, you know, I'm not really an ideological guy. I'm a numbers and history guy. And when you look at the history of the thing, what you see is we can afford to extend these tax cuts and still have a historically normal level of taxation. What's historically not normal is the level of spending.
Well, Judge, historically low. I mean, look at some of these increases. I mean, personal income, 39.6% from 35. How about this one? Dividend tax rate, Judge, up to 39.6, the highest rate from a 15%.
Well, the administration is rewarding its friends and punishing people it views as unfriendly, but that's crazy because the people who will be paying more taxes are the ones who invest the money that get into the banks, that is loaned out, that produces jobs, that build houses. So there's going to be less of that. And for every dollar that would have gone, build another house or make another loan or create another job, it's going to go into the government coffers where it will be wasted.
Tara's shaking your head, Tara. Hang in there. I have to get to Imogen. These tax rates seem low in comparison to England, right?
Well, what's very interesting at the moment in Europe is they're busy dealing with deficits. They're dealing with the deficit, first of all, by cuts, savage austerity measures throughout Europe, including in France, but they're also raising taxes. And what's interesting here is that we're seeing these tax cuts, but at the same time, the stimulus has got to stop as well. The deficit has to be dealt with.
Well, Representative, what about it? We're hearing about the tax cuts going away, but is there any sign of spending being cut back? And that's one of your big issues.
And that's the concern that I have. And since the Democrats came to power in 2007, spending has increased by 28%. That's the level of increase in discretionary spending. It's out of control. That is not at all relative to cost of living, to the increase in population. It's an astronomical increase, which is resulting in the deficit that the White House acknowledged on Friday. This year it will be $1.47 trillion.
And that's supposed to be good news. Tara Dowdell, $1.47 trillion added to the $13.5 trillion debt we've already incurred. How can you keep up like this? You're shaking your head when the representative says we should be cutting spending.
But here's why I'm shaking my head, though, Eric, because the representative is saying that as if Republicans didn't blow through Bill Clinton's surplus that he left at the end of his administration. So to pretend that only Democrats have overspent is, I think, disingenuous at best.
You're shaking your head, yes, but the increase, the speed at which the deficit and the debt is increasing has definitely stepped up in the last year and a half.
It has stepped up, but that's not all the Democrats' fault. I mean, that is disingenuous. We have to be realistic, much more realistic, and grow up as a society. Realize we simply, all of us, cannot accept this level of entitlements. You know, I was looking at a really frightening statistic.
Hang the thought. We're going to bring that back in the next turn. I want to get the judge before we have to say goodbye to the congressman.
I agree fully with the congressman. He belongs to a branch of the Republican Party that believes in balancing budgets. Not all Republicans do that, and they spent like drunken sailors, with deference to sailors, when they ran the White House.
Imogen, I cut you short. We're going to have to thank the congressman right now. We're going to lose a satellite. And the panel will be back, guys. All right, city workers